Today we are sponsored by Match Bingo, the best game to play during Premier League games. There's one more round of games that you can play this. Do not miss out a chance of not just having some fun and winning some money, but helping some of the causes, some of the charities very close to your heart. It's free to download, easy to set up. You do need to be over the age of 18 and living in the UK, but give it a try before the end of the Premier League season this weekend.
Have to take the medicine, it looks like, in the next few days, and it's going to be really difficult for them, because when you come the whole way through a season of 10 months of work and you've done as well as they have and you don't win it at the end. I mean, Liverpool have been there a number of times over the last 5 or 6 years with Jurgen Klopp and chasing this Pep Guardiola machine that is just unbelievable. And you think, what is the only way for Arsenal? They can look at, you know, when they didn't beat City, I thought it was probably a moment whereby I think you've got to damage them. You've got to do something spectacular. And that's easier said than done because they're amazing. But
we know that isn't quite true, though, because in the seasons of which Liverpool, we went through this before, in the seasons of which Liverpool won the league, they didn't do that either. So it isn't just about you've got to go to the Etihad and win. I think there's more to it than that. But let's continue to listen to what they say.
When they didn't beat them, you just think,
it's the Villa game for me, though,
yeah,
guys.
Everyone will go to the Villa game, they will, but and look, rightly so. But you might have, in a normal running, you may have one mistake. And I just look at it and think, you know, do they have to wait for Pep Guardiola to leave in the next year or two? Or do they just have to somehow get that extra 2 points from somewhere? But
well, the extra 2 points would have come earlier on in the season for Arsenal. So I felt all campaign that they were going to leave a bit in reserve for the back end of the season, and they have. Since the start of the new year, they have won, I think, 17 games, lost one, drawn one. Their running has actually been very, very good in totality. It's earlier on in the season, the 2-2 draw with Fulham, the 2-2 draw with Tottenham at home, the 2-2 draw away to Chelsea when they were awful, the Villa defeat, the Newcastle defeat, and then those 3 poor games in a row. I'm looking at them now. Liverpool away 1-1 isn't bad. Then the home defeat to West Ham, the away defeat to Fulham. Those are where it went wrong for them. But that doesn't mean it is abject failure. In the grand scheme of things, as a singular season, you could argue that it is, but football doesn't end at the end of the season. So for me, how Arsenal manage it next year, and I'd love to get your view and opinion on this, is you improve the squad again in the summer. I think your methodology remains the same. You play within yourselves in the first half of the season, leaving energy, leaving blood, leaving stamina in yourself for the second half of the campaign. But if you have a stronger squad at the beginning, you're likely to pick up more points. That's just my view. What do you all think below?
Can't talk about that because Arsenal have been amazing in this season. The amount of points they've amassed is fantastic.
I think that's an interesting point, that, because I think the job Mikel Arteta has done is absolutely fantastic. And people say he's spent a lot of money. He has. But the biggest indicator of where someone finishes in the league is the wage bill. And when you actually look at the wage bill of Manchester City and Liverpool, who are not far behind Manchester City, compared to what Arsenal's are, it's a massive gulf. And that, more often than not, that decides where the Premier League title goes. So you might have a situation where you might have to wait for Pep Guardiola to go.
Well, I think waiting for Pep Guardiola to go is fair. Is fair. There is a certainty that most of the Premier League celebrated when Sir Alex Ferguson left. And Sir Alex Ferguson's dominance was very much akin and similar to Pep Guardiola's. Just go and look at who won the league every year. The points totals are higher now, but that's expected with much deeper squads, much more money at clubs to have the bigger wage bills, to keep the bigger squads together, and little things like having more subs on the bench and being able to use 5 substitutes makes it slightly easier to accumulate points. But the wage element is true. Man City's turnover, last time they put their accounts through, was 826 million. 60% of that, so well north of 400 million, is spent on wages. Arsenal's turnover is 530 million. So the wage bill at Man City is almost as much as Arsenal turnover in revenue. In fact, I don't think there's a huge differential between the two. Let's actually get the official number here. I'm going to do it. I didn't do this before because I don't know what... I haven't seen these clips before I go live. 827 minus, it's actually 59%. £487 million in wages Manchester City Football Club spend. That's only 50 million less than Arsenal's entire income as a football club. Now, 51% of Arsenal's income goes on to salary, so 271 million. There is a 200 million pound discrepancy per year in what both clubs spend to keep their squads together. That doesn't include agent fees and the transfers that are also spent. Arsenal have done a very good job to get to this point. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. What do they need to do from here? Keep improving that squad, keep growing the revenue. As you grow the revenue, you grow the salaries that you pay people, you keep your better players at the club, and over time, you continue to compete, and you may take over. Simple as that for me.
Will still haunt them. They give Man City more problems than I've probably seen anybody give them for a long time in terms of the chances they they created. And the fact we gave Ortega man of the match, Ortega has basically, just on tonight alone, has won them the Premier League title. There's obviously a lot's going on.
He hasn't, though. I mean, this is the thing. It's we always focus on one result because you can do the maths on it. But it's everything that's come before that's led to this. Ortega important for this game, but it's the whole squad, the whole team, and the manager.
Into that over the season. But when you look at this game, this wasn't about the goal from Haaland or the assist from De Bruyne. If he doesn't make those saves at 1-0, Arsenal will win the league. That's how close it is. And when I think of...
And that's also what I find interesting. It is that close, yet people are talking about Arsenal like they're bums, like they're chumps. When they're that close, you're talking millimeter differences between being champions and not. And I'll finish my point at the end of this clip.
Me, a few years ago, as a Liverpool fan, watching Vincent Kompany put that shot in against Leicester. That is that moment now for Arsenal fans. That Son chance is that moment that the Arsenal fans will remember in 5, 10, 15 years' time. And even if they win a Premier League title in the next sort of 5 or 6 years, and they've got a great chance of doing that, they're a great team and a great manager, that chance will still haunt them.
He's right and he's wrong at the same time here. And I'll explain what I mean by that. And it goes back to the previous point. I'm still haunted by the Aguero goal. I'm still haunted by the 6-1 defeat to City in the campaign where we didn't win the league title. I'm still haunted by drawing with West Ham on the final day of the season, which saw Blackburn become champions. I'm still haunted by the goal that was disallowed in the season that Porto knocked us out the Champions League. I'm still haunted by the ridiculous red card that Luis Nani got on our way to knocking out Real Madrid in the Champions League in 2013. But that doesn't mean that you can't then go on and have success and enjoy it. This has sort of been said by Carragher, and then it's been interpreted in a way of it's going to haunt Arsenal and they're going to go backwards. It's going to haunt Arsenal and it's going to stop them from progressing. It isn't. It isn't. If they can handle coming second and weaponize it. Now, for some people, and I read a study by a Dr. Abraham, I think it's pronounced Bulk is his name, who did an extensive study over many years on is coming second failure. And the conclusion was essentially it depends upon your outlook on life, whether you're a positive person or a negative person. If you're a negative person, you will typically see it as they're the first loser or I'm the first loser, and they become a little bit engrossed in that, and that negative energy consumes them. Or you can look at it as I came second. I'm happy with being second. It means I'm second best. It's going to motivate me to keep pushing harder to become the best. And this was a deep study that was done speaking to multiple athletes in multiple sports. And what they found is the most successful sportsmen and the most successful teams don't view second or third as abject failure. Ironically, it comes back to something that I've been saying for years, which is just my own thought. And it was nice to read it in a study, was very much football doesn't end this weekend. It's a continual cycle. But it's as long as you weaponize it in the right way. And that's what Arsenal need to do. And I've seen a lot of people in the last few days celebrate Arsenal not winning the league. I get that. I respect the tribalism. I understand it. But they're also hinting at the fact that that's it. They're done now. They're finished. Crazy. Crazy in my opinion. But I want to get your views. I want to get your thoughts on this latest piece of nonsense about Arsenal. Not so much what Carragher and Neville have said. I don't think what they've said is particularly unfair, but it's the interpretations of it. Let us know in the comment section below.
Difficult to justify Jurgen Klopp's nomination, I have to say.
You find it difficult to justify it?
Yeah. Why on earth is he in the top five
Because of
nominations?
No, because of where we were last season. You can't say he's done a phenomenal job as well. You know, he's rebuilt a team.
Oh my God.
Well, why hasn't he? There's the whole midfield. There was a lot of surgery to be done. He's done it. He's finished third, Champions League, hung in there all season. Why would you not say that? He's done a good job.
I think he's done a good job, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's any more than that.
Yeah. Well, what do you want him to do?
I think someone like Gary O'Neill, I think someone like Dyche, someone who's actually had to work at their season to get something out of it.
Why would you say Jurgen's not worked at his season?
Well, I just think with a club like that, and with what he's got, as minimum he should be producing
what he's got.
He
Lost a lot of players last season. They'd run out of steam. They'd run out of gas. It was a rebuild. He didn't walk away from.
Klopp being nominated for Manager of the Year, I do believe is sentimental. I don't think he should be in the running for it. Pep, Arteta, Unai Emery, I think Gary O'Neill is a great shout. There are a number of managers in there. He had a good season, made Champions League football, was in the title race for a long period, has won a trophy as well. So he's by no means a failure of a season, but he is in there for sentimental reasons. But the reason I pulled on this video when I saw it is this rebuild nonsense has got to stop. Rebuilds and processes have become a word, a comfort blanket, used now as a comfort blanket or a safety net or a shield by fans to protect themselves from criticism. What Man United are about to embark on is a genuine rebuild. What we know, because the evidence is out there, that since Sir Alex retired, there's been failed project after failed project after failed project. And now the club is quite literally scattered with the carcasses of all these projects. The stadium's falling down. The training facilities are outdated. We have a Frankenstein squad, no set style of play, haven't challenged for a league title properly in over a decade. A rebuild is needed where the board, recruitment, medical teams, playing staff will be completely flushed out, management probably as well. Everything's changing. That's a rebuild. That's the start of a new process. Arsenal went through it when Arteta came in as an example. Newcastle started a new process when their new owners came in. Those clubs, that's the beginning of a rebuild. When you're a Liverpool that's been in multiple title races, won multiple major trophies, still winning trophies over the last 7-8 years, with one of the best managers in the world, with one of the best squads in the world, they're not in a rebuild. They may have to rebuild their midfield. They may have to rebuild their attack, but it isn't a club rebuild by any stretch of the imagination. If Pep wins the Prem and the FA Cup and then says, you know what, City, I'm going to sail off into the sunset. I'm exhausted. I'm finished. And he leaves. Man City don't need a rebuild. Yes, Liverpool spent 170 million last year, but they brought in, let's actually look at it. They brought in 4 players. 4 players in, 4 or 5 players out is atypical. Sorry, it is typical. It isn't atypical. It isn't different. It's a typical summer. And if every time a club brings in 4 or 5 players, we're going to say, it was a rebuild. It becomes farcical. It becomes a farce. Liverpool were not in a rebuild last year. They're not in a rebuild at this point. They're just simply not. They do not need to rebuild their club to be successful. They might need to improve some areas, but they are not in a rebuild. We've got to stop using this word willy-nilly in football because words and their meaning really do matter, in my personal opinion. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, a big thank you to each and every single one of you. Check out Match Bingo. It's your final weekend of the season to play it. Win yourself a little bit of money and help some charities of your choice. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you soon. Peace.